What's going on, everybody? Slowly here, and today we are back with another video. And today we are looking at a guide on how you can get from level 1 to 70 and then also get to Paragon 800 in the first 12 hours of the season. There's gonna be a lot of good tips and tricks in here, so make sure to watch the entire video. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. Alright, so in terms of our strategy, we're gonna have a few plans that we wanna have from the start, right? So first of all, we wanna know the steps we're gonna take, right? We don't have to follow the steps 100%, but we wanna know the basics, right? And this would also work for groups, of course. You just need to adjust accordingly, right? So as you can see here, I'm doing Massacre bonus. This is the most efficient way to level as a Demon Hunter solo. At least it will be here in season 19. It might be different in the future seasons, I can't really tell. But this works out really good for a solo Demon Hunter here in 19. Okay, so all of these steps I'm about to explain, they also work in groups. You just have to adjust accordingly, right? So you don't have to follow the steps 100%. It's okay to just know the basics. You don't have to be a mastermind of this game in order to do these steps. I'm certainly not a mastermind, but I did my research and it worked out for me. So I wanted to share with you guys how I did this. So first of all, you want to have an overall plan, right? You want to know the strengths and weaknesses of your character. For instance, I know that Demon Hunter is pretty slow at leveling in total, and also their AoE ability is pretty low, at least until like about 12, where you get like shotgun, right? So I knew this beforehand because I did some leveling preps, right? I had tried a few leveling strategies ahead of time, where I leveled to about level 30. You don't have to do that, but knowing your class a bit will help you a lot in terms of leveling, but also once you're 70, right? You want to have an overall plan of the builds you're gonna be working. So, you know, from your season journey and how you're gonna build that into whatever build you're making. It can be difficult for some if you have a really bad season start. But like that's a thing you gotta know, right? Is it really that bad, and what are you gonna swap out instead, right? You want to have like a general path of how you're gonna do it and a general idea, both from the leveling and from your 70. Not everything is gonna go as planned, but you want to have something you can follow, right? You also want to know stuff like what you're gonna gamble for at level 1 with your blood shots, because that can give you a damage increase that's pretty big throughout the entire leveling process. Now, I made a general leveling video about a week ago about how to level, and I also made specific class leveling guides for Barbarian, Crusader, and Demon Hunter. There will be links for them, the videos down below, so you can go check them out if you have any questions. Those might help you quite a bit. Alright, so we hit 70, right? We're about 2 hours and 8 minutes into the season now. You can look in the top right corner. We are about 2 hours, 8 minutes into the season, and I just hit 70 now, which is a pretty good timer for a solo Demon Hunter, I think. Because I knew what I was gonna plan for, right? At this point, it's about getting the season journey done, right? So I already know, like now, what I'm about to do, right? So I'm planning for it already in my mind as to what are my next steps. And you want to have that same kind of mentality, right? What's your next step and how are you gonna get to it the fastest possible? So here I'm currently running the season journey on chapter 4, and I don't really need to go high. It's not a matter of fact of getting as much as I can. It's pretty much just a matter of fact of completing it as fast as I can, right? So if things takes too long to kill, that's not worth it. I want to make it as fast as possible without, like, we're still getting a few DBs and stuff, right? Now, in terms of our season journey set, right? We're doing the season journey to get our free set. Now, there is a pretty big difference in the set for some of the classes, right? For instance, here, season 19, Demon Hunter gets Unhold Essence, and Barb gets, like, the Waste set, which are probably the best two sets for speed, like, overall in the game. So that helps me out a lot, right? So I need to just focus on getting that, and I don't need to focus on anything else, so that helps me. But if you are playing a class where you don't get a good season journey for that season, you want to, of course, be able to craft a new one, right? Alright, so here we're about 3.5 hours into the season, and I'm doing my GR20. I did a GR25 instead. And this is the last piece I need to get my season journey. And I also have guides on how you can complete a GR 20, but as you can see, it's pretty easy. Okay, so after you're done your season journey, it's time to either complete that build. So for instance, if you're playing a Demon Hunter and you have UE set, you want to of course complete that. But if you're playing something like a Monk and you get Raymond set, which is probably the worst set of them all, you want to either be able to finish the build to a certain degree so you can start farming stuff, or you want to look for an alternative build, right? For instance, you want to look at an LOD setup where you're using the Legacy of Dreams gem, and then you use just a bunch of random legendaries and ancients. And you can sort of use that until you get your pre-planned build. For instance, you could go for Wave of Light if you're playing a Monk, right? Now, Bloodshed is a really good way to get the missing pieces. You want to gamble for everything that costs like 25 Bloodshots. You don't want to gamble for weapons and amulets. That's kind of a waste. So everything that costs 25 is a really good. And rings can be good, but you want to get your core items first, right? Okay, so at this point we have made our core build, right? We have our 6-piece, we have our weapon, and we have everything we need, right? So I'm already doing Torment 16, and we are about 4.5 hours into the season, right? I have the basics. I don't have focus restraint, so that would be something I would focus on now, but I have the basics of the build, right? And that's kind of where you want to get to. You want to get to your basics, and then at that point you want to go for stuff like rings, if you need any of that. You want to start getting your GS70 done. At this point, you basically just want to get as many materials you can. For instance, you want to get a lot of Desperate so you can craft weapons and rings and stuff. Alright, so at this point we have done our GS70. We have everything we need to start really grinding. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a lot of gradables, right? And if you need something from, let's say, a bounty, that's when, like, the time we're going to start doing it. If you need like a Wing of World Grandeur, or you need the Captain Crimson set, this is the point, right? After you've done a GS70 and you have your basics, right? Because you don't want to do a bounty on T2 when you can like simply just wait 10 minutes to get a bit more gear and then do it on like Torment 10, right? And another tip, remember to reroll your gear. I see this quite often, especially from the newer players, that they forget to reroll their gear. Stats matters a hell of a lot on items. Specifically, you want to get as much crit chance, crit damage, and main stat as you can early on. And yeah, it costs a bit of mats to reroll it, but it gives you so much more damage, so remember to reroll your gear. Also, at this point when you're just grinding GRs, you want to have an overlook of your gear frequently, and you want to figure out which piece is the worst, right? So for instance, I know right now that my Dead Man's Legacy is the worst part, right? Like my Quiver is really bad, so I'm trying to gamble for that, for instance. And you want to have that same mentality, right? So you're not just walking blind, but you know the next step. You pretty much just want to look for the biggest damage increases you can at this point. At this point, you also want to start trying to get your ancient weapon. You can do this either by trying to reroll with leftover materials, or you could try and upgrade things with, for instance, DBs, right? An ancient weapon you will see about 30% increase more damage, so you definitely want to get on that, right? Weapon is usually a really big upgrade, and also you want to try and get a Ramalapnis for it as well, of course. When you get big damage upgrades, so for instance you get an ancient weapon, or you suddenly go from no rings to suddenly have a focus restraint, you want to do semi pushes where you upgrade your main gems basically, right? You want to get your Beam to Trapped and everything like that up in levels, because those give a lot of damage, especially as you get them higher and higher, right? It scales really far. As you can see here, I just did rank 1 clear, and that was because I did a semi push. Like it still took 6 minutes, and like a semi push still should only take like 7 minutes total. You don't want to get higher than that, because then at that point it's not really that efficient. At this point you can kind of do whatever. You have everything you need, so it's kind of up to you in terms of your next goal. But at this point you will have a really good start to the season. You have your core set up, you'll be able to grind GRs, you have your main gems, you can start working on augments if that's what you like. Or you can try to get, high paragon, right? All of that kind of mixes in. Or you could, help friends with boosting, you could do bounties and whatnot. Like, it's up to you at this point, right? And that is about it. As you can see the clip here, this is when I reach Paragon 800, just in a bit. And it's pretty straightforward, right? So in terms of your steps again, right, you want to have a plan in terms of your leveling. You want to have a plan in terms of your skills and builds you're going to be using. You also need to know what season journey you're going to get, the build you're going to get, and how you're going to make that work the best for you when you get 70. Once you have your 6Ps and your weapons or whatnot, like your core setup, that's when you want to start farming normal rifts and GRs, right? And you want to get that done pretty frequently in terms of swapping, so like 5 rifts and then 5 GRs. That way you get like maximum amount of DBs, but also like main gym upgrades or whatnot. After this, you want to get your GS70 done. You want to do bounties if you need like Ring of Rock Endure, you need a Crimson set, so you can start farming afterwards. Remember to reroll your gear and often have an overlook of your gear and find out which is the worst one, so you can replace the worst piece of gear you have, and that way you get the biggest damage upgrades. When you get a big damage upgrade, remember to do semi pushes, get your main gyms up a bit more, that will help you. Farm a lot of GRs if you want to get Paragon 800 less than 12 hours. I did it here in 11 and a half. Of course, you don't have to do it on season launch. You could, do it 6 hours on launch night, and then the next day you could do 6 hours. Like, it's up to you, right? But in 12 hours, you could go from level 1 to Paragon 800 if you, had a plan. And this is kind of what I'm trying to show you here, right? I hope you liked the video, and a like as always, greatly appreciate it. It helps me out a ton. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure to post that in the comment down below. Also, make sure to come and visit me on my Twitch stream where I streamed all of this. We had over a 12-hour stream on launch day. The more the merrier. And that is about it. I hope you have a great day. Peace out.